So we are driving through a beautiful valley and through an area with a little town called Gosau, G-O-S-A-U. Now it's known for kind of being stuck back in time a little bit. They say here you can still see horse-drawn carriages pulling firewood, people grazing sheep and cows on the grass slopes, and just a beautiful area. Now this area was settled by some monks in the 1200s, and it became a timber production hotspot for the salt mines just down the road in Hallstatt. Now we visited Hallstatt in our last video if you missed that, but this place was known for timber to help keep the mines in business. It was occupied many times by the French during the Napoleon Wars, and it's just a beautiful place. Now it also sits at the foot of some ski resorts that are part of the largest ski resort conglomerate here in Austria, apparently. But it is not wintertime, so there are no ski people here. But I bet this place would be beautiful in the wintertime. Now we drove through some beautiful places with looked like 3 churches up on the hill as we got down here closer to the ski resort area. And it's so beautiful, we decided we needed to pop the drone up to get a better look. We will not be staying in this town. We're headed down the road about another hour to our next destination, but it was just too darn pretty not to share it with you.
I may be looking, but I'm not looking to settle down. I wanna go a little further out. I get afraid of getting stuck in where I stick around. I wanna go a little further out. I keep looking at the county map, and I'm aware of where I'm at, where I am. It's not so bad, but lately I've been feeling that my lily pad's steady when the water's flat. But out beyond this little pond, I see the ocean water waving back, and it's waving at me. I wanna go a little further out, so I go way, way, way yonder. I wanna go a little further out. Yeah, I go way, way, way over. I'm gonna go a little further out.
All right, when I was a little kid, one of my mom's favorite of all times. I talked to my dad last night. He said he liked it too. The Sound of Music Trail, and I can still today belt out some of the songs. I promise you, you guys don't want to hear it. But this is the set in the mountain where they shot several scenes, including Do Re Mi, and the scene where they're kind of frolicking across the field. But it's a beautiful little town here, Werfen. And you can see up there, right above it, in front of the mountains that are covered in clouds, is a castle. So I'm gonna walk the hike, Snow's gonna drive it, and one of the reasons is well, it's kind of overcast and we can't see the back, and so this makes a little bit more sense for both of us. So we're gonna head up. It starts down in the town of Werfen. I believe we head up these steps and around the mountain to some of the famous sets. So it's cool if you're wondering if you're in the right place and you don't want to take a chance on climbing all these stairs. Right on top you can see a little sign. The first little part of the trip takes you up through the neighborhood. Now I gotta tell you, if we've been riding with us through some of these Austrian neighborhoods, the houses, a lot of them are just stunning. The woodwork and the decorations, out of this world, kind of like real world gingerbread houses with all the ornate wood and the cuttings and the trimmings. It's really cool. So once you get up through the village, the trail transitions quickly into this little forested area. And this morning, even though there's a lot of clouds, the sun is coming through brightly, so getting in the shade is really feels good, especially after that steep, short climb. So my mama would absolutely love this trail. We're here in the forest, and look, they've got the song, doe, a deer, ray, a drop of golden sun, me, my name, I call myself, far a long, long way to run. Yeah, my mama's probably singing that song right now. But I think here we can turn this wheel. Let's see. Okay, so there's a crank right here, if you guys can see it. See if we can crank it. All right, I believe that's supposed to play some notes. But in any event, brought back some memories, that's for sure. A little water drinking spot up here. I'm sure that's fresh water from the mountain. And there is more than one way to get up here. There are definitely several trails, but I'm on the right one. Now, I will say that all the reviews say this is an easy trail, and by my standards, I would call it easy. By snow standard, I would not. It's kind of steep, so it's a little bit short, but kind of steep, so keep that in mind if you're planning for yourself. I made it up to the first official lookout, and there's some nice viewing benches up here and resting benches. And although we have the castle blocked from the trees, we are starting to see the mountain come out a little bit from behind the clouds. Fingers crossed it'll be out by the time we get up there for the epic view. We can also see the town of Werfen down there. And if you can see along the railroad tracks back there, there's 3 RVs. That's where we parked in that parking lot for the night. So a cute little town and gorgeous views. And we're gonna keep moving on. And just like that, we've come up to one of their interactives, and Mom loves word games, and that's what this is. The hills are alive with the sounds of music, but there's different words on different blocks. Oh, climb every mountain. You guys probably know that line. I think the next one is swim every stream, but I don't see that, so maybe I'm wrong. Some are in English, and I believe some are in German. Cool. All right, I take after my mama. I stayed there trying to play word games, trying to figure that thing out, and forgot I was on a hike, and the snow's probably gonna be up there waiting for me. So I'm gonna move up. Hopefully they have another of those interactive things. Again, the lyrics from the song just are written in my mind. It looks like we're almost there, guys. And one last look at this forest, small and beautiful, as we come out of the exit here to the trail and onto the farm. So we gotta open this gate and go through the pasture. But if you see, there's a warning sign that says, avoid the cows with calves, especially if you have a dog. If it becomes clear the cow is going to attack, let your dog off the lead immediately. I was really expecting a G-rated video. I didn't know we were coming up through a field of vicious cows. Just kidding, guys. But I think there's a little scenic deal up there. And you can see we've kind of opened up to pasture land. And I'm sure by now Snow's already made her way up here and has found a place to stop or wait. As I say that, from over my shoulder, she yells out, Curdy. She's here, and she found a place to park. And where we came out of the woods, I couldn't see that castle because I was down in the trees. But as I come up to the site where they shot the movie, you can see the castle just sticking up above the trees. You can see the van down by the forest with the 2 kitties. And you can see snow bringing up the rear. This is even this little bit's a steep little bit, right?
I'm really glad I didn't try to walk up this. But I'm also really glad I was able to drive that close and still get to see it. Whew.
We made it to the spot. And up on the hill, you can see the big old cows up there. I think those are milking cows, if I'm not mistaken. Snow's the cow expert. But this is the scene. Let's go see it. You gotta go back a little bit more.
That was a fun little morning activity. I'm sure Curt told you, but I drove up to the meeting point and only had to make that short walk there at the end. There's a car coming, Curt. Hold on, guys. All right, we're back. What I was about to tell you is that when I drove up there, it was quite an adventure road. Very narrow, just a few spots to pull off, and a lot of trees, so you can't look ahead and see if a car is coming. Curt is now getting the fun of driving down, and we did encounter a car, but luckily it was at a point where they could easily pull over. So Curt's getting to see my fun ride up. Curt successfully navigated down the winding, narrow little road from the Sound of Music Trail. And now we have about an hour drive. We are headed to a campsite just on the outskirts of the city of Salzburg, Austria. And we'll figure out what to do from there. It's time to get a little laundry done, and we hope we can do that at this campsite. We just had to get onto the main road to kind of bypass Salzburg for right now to get to our camp. And there's obviously a traffic jam on the other side of the road. Curt, what do you notice over there?
I am terrified. This is not a scenic view, guys, but we are seeing camper after camper after camper. I mean, it is like a highway full of campers. Like sometimes you see semi-trucks dominating the road. This is campers headed south out of Salzburg. Oh, July is coming, and we hear that's the worst month over here in terms of how many, how difficult it is to find a camp spot. But we turned the corner and this was shocking.
Yeah. And we've never had to worry about making reservations at campsites, and in July and August,
we're show up kind of people.
Yeah, we've heard that Europe gets crowded and a little more difficult. And if this is any sign of what's to come, the summer months.
I hope they're not headed to the Dolomites. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Us.
Yeah, soon. And we're trying to get to the Dolomites before the July rush. Now, I know this video will come out when it's already August, but our videos are shot a little bit in advance, and that's just the way it's got to be to give us some time for editing and uploading. But just know, the campers are out. We made it to the campsite. There's a lot of campers here. It's kind of in an industrial area just north of Salzburg, Austria. Kind of a self-serve type place. And I'm very excited because it does have washing machines, 2 of them, and they were empty when we first got here. So we quickly rounded up our clothes. We're headed up there, hoping nobody got in front of us. So we'll get a few loads of laundry done. Tomorrow, I think we'll take you into Salzburg. So the laundry machines are coin operated. €1 gets you 15 minutes. She said if we do €3, we should be able to do the basic cycle. And then, this is really unusual. It even has a dryer. But if it's sunshiny, we'll hang them out. Let's see how it goes. Laundry's going, and I want to show you what we mean when we tell you it's kind of a self-serve campsite. Curt can get a beer, a soda, a juice, but this is my favorite. I love the European vending machines.
Yeah, I think those are pork chops. You can get trout. Of course, they've got all different kinds of sausages and frankfurters.
These are bacon wrapped.
Bacon wrapped, barbecue corn,
Oh, they got some cheese.
pasta, macaroni. They got some steaks right there. Those are beef steaks. So they got all kinds of stuff.
So we may be grocery shopping here. They also have a coffee machine, which is nice. We can come up and have an afternoon coffee here if we decide to. But we've got laundry going. And now we're gonna head back to the van and have some lunch. Good morning. Laundry is done. Van is all restocked with water. We have left the campsite. It was a great campsite. Nothing beautiful, nothing fancy, just exactly what you need to restock, refuel, get out of there. And that's nice sometimes. So that's what we did. And we have made an executive decision this morning, haven't we, Curt?
We have indeed.
We are not going into the city. There's a couple of reasons. One, I think it's going to be crowded. And two, a heat wave has come through and it is hot. I think this is the first time we've had heat like this where if you walk from the grocery store to the van, you're sweating. So we've decided to head for the mountains. So let's go for an adventure, guys.
Welcome to Germany. In my, well, terrible German accent, but any event, we crossed the border, we were pulled off, and I couldn't help but notice we were the only vehicle, semi-trucks, campers, cars, all went by. Maybe it's the US plate. Anyway, they were nice, but they were thorough and kept us there for a little bit, just checking our paperwork. So all good. We're in Germany though, and we're excited. We're not going to be here long. We're only going to get to do a little southern tip of these Alps, this mountain region, and I think is supposed to be one of the most beautiful and unfortunately most touristy areas in all of Germany. But as you guys know from coming up through here, through these mountains, through the sound of music and all that other stuff, we are just in some beautiful country. So we're going to enjoy the ride, but we do have a special destination coming up.
And for those keeping track, Germany is our 27th country in the van. This is our first time ever taking the van into Germany. So checking them off one by one. We've pulled off of the main road, taking you through a town that we're not going to stop in, but that we thought was too pretty to miss. I believe it's Berchtesgaden. We will put it on the screen. So this town has definitely got a little tourist spin on it. It would likely be a place that would be good to book a little bed and breakfast. They probably have small hotels. It had a nice looking little old town.
I think they also have like a lot of nature activities around here. It looks like they have a salt mine just outside of the city. Of course, they have the river, which is like almost like a really white blue, like a glacier melt river. And not only is the town beautiful, but the surrounding area is. And you see a bunch of people out riding bicycles, enjoying the scenery. So a beautiful scenic spot, but very touristy.
Yeah. And one, I think we definitely made the right choice. That would be very difficult to park here in town anywhere. Now there's some spots outside of town you can park, but we have chose to take you to the next town, which is a little bit smaller. All right, we've made it to our parking spot. And admittedly, there is nothing glamorous about it. It's just a little gravel spot on the edge of this very small town. But it is a place we're allowed to park for 24 hours. and sleep in the van. And that is very rare in this part of Germany without paying, you know, 40, 50 bucks for a campsite. It's also right next to this bike path where we hope we can take the scooters down and see a little waterfall gorge here. But first, we got to figure out how to pay for parking, and Kurt's going to cook us some lunch. We are sitting in a truly magical, beautiful place here in the very little southern tip of Germany. Let's back up and tell you how we got here. First, Kurt pulled out the scooters because he finally fixed the flat tire and we're able to use them again. We probably rode maybe a mile on the scooters, up some hills. Now, our scooters do not have a lot of umph, so there was some pushing of the scooters up some steep hills, but we survived.
Snow was...
I was struggling.
Yeah, struggling.
It was hard, it was.
The hills were actually really steep, so it was a workout. I got all lathered up too.
And at the top of the hill, there's a little electronic pay machine next to this little souvenir shop. It cost us €4 a piece. And when we put our credit card in, it spit out 2 coins. So we assumed that we needed to bring the coins with us, and we were right. We went across over this little hill, down to this little bridge, and to get into the gorge, you had to go through a funny little puzzle because the coins fit just right. And then you get in and you walk along this beautiful gorge.
The reality was, it was a bit of an IQ test, and Snow, being, you know, overly confident, just kind of went through. She got it after 2 or 3 tries. It was kind of funny.
It took me a minute to see that there was kind of a puzzle to it. But anyway, we made it into the gorge. It's beautiful right away, but as soon as you turn that first curve and you start to see all these little trickles of water just coming out of the side of this rock canyon that's covered in green moss with trees growing everywhere, super green, birds chirping. The farther you go, the more around the curve you go, the more and more water you see just flying out of the side of this mountain. It's like 10,000 waterfalls that falls down into this raging powder blue river. I love it.
What's really nice about it is the entrance. I mean, you come right there and boom, you're right by the river immediately, and this baby powder blue water is just raging down through this little gorge, and as Snow said, the water's just pouring off the walls. It is stunning. Kind of reminds us a little bit of back in some areas in the jungles in Central and South America, and a little bit of little big pieces of Iguazu where we were down there.
It's like a little tiny version of Iguazu, because Iguazu
very
really
tiny
gigantic.
version. Yeah.
So this would literally be like a miniature scale model. And then we got to the end and there was this really steep thing of steps, and I was done. I said, I'm sitting right here on this rock. And Kurt was going to go on up and see what was here, but then he called me up, found out it was the last flight of stairs, and there were some benches at the top. So I muscled through, made it up the stairs, and now we're resting. And we get to walk back through this beautiful thing to get out of here. It's unbelievable.
And it's a downhill scooter ride on the way out, so I hope our brakes hold.
Oh, God. Great.
I can feel the fire burn in my heart, make it through the twists and turns, out of the darkness, built from broken bones. When times are tough, I walk ahead and brave the storm. Skies opened up, I'm not hiding anymore. I keep on moving, carving at the stone.
Here's another brain teaser for Snow.
You're full of jokes today.
Even worn out, she still got it. Feeling all right?
Yeah. We made it back to the van. just before the afternoon thunderstorms that are supposed to be coming in. And we're gonna call it a night. But when we leave here in the morning, we will be heading back to Austria, right, Curt?
Yeah, guys, so here's the thing. There is so much stuff in these beautiful little Alps, and it's all super close. And, well, it's kind of like we have to make it up as we go, because we don't know where we're going to find park spots. Some of these areas are touristy, some of these are remote. But man, there are some gorgeous mountains, some gorgeous hikes, and we are super excited for what's about to happen in the next coming weeks.
Well, I will give a little bit of a spoiler alert. We are going back into Austria, but just for a couple of days, because we are headed to a bucket list place in northern Italy. Want to tell them or want to make them wait?
The Dolomites.
The Dolomites, what I think may be some of the most beautiful mountains in the world.
We're gonna see, guys, and Switzerland follows, so there's a lot of stuff. Hit your like, hit your subscribe, turn your notifications on, get your butt in the seat on this journey. We want you guys with us. Let's go. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Cheers.
Cheers. He said weeks, he meant days. Cheers.